Good morning, and thanks for joining us for another pivotal moment. My name is Reggie Nice, and I work for Pivot Talent Group. Today, we have Lee Tran, who is a licensed professional counselor, joining us today. Lee works for Lifeology, and he is always our go-to guy here at Pivot Talent Group. I wanted to ask Lee a couple of questions, and the first question is, Lee, how do we deal with the fear or the anxiety that builds up around the loss of our financial security?
Yeah, I think so much of the anxiety that we experience is really about loss of control. Anxieties tend to push our mental energies into the future. What's going to happen months from now, and how do we prepare ourselves for that unknown future? And then sometimes anxieties are really about the past. Things that we've suffered before in the past. Will those things happen to us again? You see, so much of the energy that we spend, the mental energy that we exhaust, is really about the past and in the future. So one of the fastest ways to really deal with anxiety is to learn how to ground yourself into the present. You don't have control of the future, and you don't have control of the past, but you do have control over yourself in the present. So doing grounding exercises that focuses on the present, your physical body, your breathing, being present in the moment, and being observant of what's going on around you. These are great ways for you to be able to help cope with anxious thoughts. I like to think of it like the parable of the seeds being thrown into different types of soil from the Bible. For many of us, this experience is the storm that tests how deep our roots really go. To ground yourself in the present reminds us that it takes strength to be resilient when things seem most uncertain. So while we might not be able to control what happens, we can certainly control how deep and how strong your roots become through this entire storm of life. So yeah, I think that when we start to feel the anxiety about our finances and what we're going to do, it helps if we begin to build the practice of shifting our focus onto the present and building the resiliency that we have to build our confidence that we are capable, or that we can become more capable of doing hard things.
Thanks, Lee. That was some good stuff. So my second question, and piggybacks off of that, how do we deal with the void that we now have in our life that work was filling? How do we stay away from those unhealthy habits that might pop up now that we don't have work in our life?
Yeah, I think to answer this question, it helps to break up the idea of work into maybe a few different parts so that we can realize that even though we don't have access to maybe one part, we have access to the other ones as well still. And so it helps to think of work as maybe one part provisional, where we use it to provide for our families, for ourselves, and then maybe one part productivity, where we use it to do something useful over time, to feel like we're doing something productive, that we're actually accomplishing something. And then one part purpose, where we use it to maybe fulfill a sense of value and meaning and purpose in our lives. So right now, being without employment might mean that we don't have access to that provisional part, so where we can use it to be able to provide for ourselves and for our family. But that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy and still really live into the productivity and that purpose part. That might mean maybe investing into building or even repairing some key relationships in your life. That could mean doing some creative projects that you've always wanted to do. But I think if you can engage activities that really fulfill a sense of purpose, that can go a long way towards filling that void. So that might be a good challenge for us all to start asking, what are the things that we're doing or could do that could have purpose behind it for us, that could have meaning behind it. And so if we can look into those kinds of things and realize that we can still fulfill those parts of the idea of work, then we can still feel a sense of fulfillment in what we do.
Thanks, Lee, so much for being with us. We really do appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you all for joining us too with another pivotal moment. Be sure to check us out on pivottalentgroup.com. Until then, be encouraged.